Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. This is Taliesin McKnight, and today I'm going to teach you a very simple method in Conjure, Southern Conjure, Hoodoo, to fix your money so that you can get the cash, the money that you have on hand to work for you. So instead of just doing prosperity jobs or prosperity spells to bring in more money, you could actually take the cash that you have and bless this money and pray over it and do some different things with your dollars so that when you spend it, it'll come and bring you more money. So there's ways that you can bless your money that you have on hand. So why not work spiritually with the cash that you have? Now, on the internet, this is often being referred to as hunting money. And the idea is you infuse your money with intentions, with the intent that once you spend that cash is going to hunt down and bring in more cash. Okay, so it's kind of like saying, return to me threefold or whatever. So now this goes into a larger class of spells, which is called fixed money spells. Anytime you work with your money in this way is fixed money. Now, it's really hard to learn Hoodoo on the internet. Very difficult. There's a lot of stuff going around on the internet that is not very traditional, and there's a whole other world out there from old school workers that you're not seeing on the internet, because a lot of these old school workers don't write blogs. And the problem with the internet is a lot of the people that are posting and teaching learned on the internet. So it's this cycle. So try to talk to some old school workers. So you bless your money in a way that that money will go out and come back to you. Now, I have seen dollar bills that have had Bible verses written along the side. I've seen it say, may you be have wealth or whatever, blessed with wealth. So I personally, maybe you've seen dollars that you've seen some kind of magical stuff going on there. So this is actually pretty common to fix your money in this way. So how do you fix your cash so that it'll go out and bring in more cash? How do you do this? There are lots of different ways. At its most basic, at the most simple way, is to simply take your money and pray over it. Take your money and pray over it, and tell your money that it's going to go out and bring you more money. Pray over it, have faith. That's the most basic way. You could light some green candles around it. You could pray over it. You can write Bible verses around it, talking about abundance. So there are lots of things you can do. Now here's my disclaimer. It is illegal in the United States to deface the dollar bill. So I'm not encouraging that. There are other ways. I'm mentioning that for interest's sake. So at its most basic, you take your money and you pray over it. You may recite a Bible verse or a psalm, and you tell that money to come back to you before you go out and spend it. Now, one popular spell that's going around on the internet is the trained hunting money with the success sigil. Now, the success sigil looks like this. It's just a really cool way to write the word success. You simply omit the vowels, add an extra S at the beginning, and you draw a line through each letter, making it into dollar and cent signs. So it's a cool way to write the word success. So one cool method is to write the success sigil in the four corners of your dollar. Okay. So you write the success sigil in the four corners of your money. And then you mark out the treasurer's name and you write your name under it. So if your name's Bob Smith, it'll say, Bob Smith, Treasurer of the United States. So success sigil in the four corners, write your name under the treasurer's name, and then you may anoint the four corners with some prosperity oil and dust and some prosperity powder and recite Psalm 23. That's a popular method that's going around on the internet. So you're infusing it with your intent. Okay. Now how do you make money powder? How do you make prosperity oil? So this is very popular to anoint the edges, or to anoint the money with prosperity oil, or to dust with prosperity powder. So what is this? What is prosperity oil, prosperity powder? Certain herbs are known to have certain qualities, just like herbs have medicinal qualities to relieve headache, cause drowsiness, all of this. So in the same way, herbs are known to have spiritual powers, such as love. Some herbs are known to bring love, some for prosperity. So you will simply take some prosperity herbs and grind them up and mix them together. Pam, you've got your prosperity powder. To make prosperity oil, you simply heat these up in some oil and you've got prosperity oil. It's just a way to get the occult properties of the herbs. So, and of course, when you work with herbs and oils, you infuse them with your intent. Okay. So, there's so many things you can do. Pray over your money, write Bible verses around it, recite Psalms over it, dust with money powder, all of the above. At its most basic, and you can draw the success sigil, but at its most basic, all you have to do is just pray over your money. Pray over it. Infuse it with your intent. Now, we have covered the recipes. We have covered the external recipes. Okay? That's the outward look of hoodoo. Now, there is a whole deeper internal empowerment that goes on. And this is where most websites leave off. Most teachers and websites will not teach you the inside fundamentals. They'll spout off some recipes, tell you to take some hot foot powder, throw it in the yard, whatever. They won't teach you the inside. And that's where I'm going to get to. The secret to Conjure is to infuse with your intentions, to infuse and give life to things. Okay? So, you have a body and you have a soul. You have the seen and the unseen. Your external recipes, you're marking symbols on the dollar, you're rubbing powders on it, that's all external. There, you have to give your money life in a sense. You have to give it a spiritual force. You have to charge it with intentions. And this is what activates the spell. Just dusting with powder is not doing anything. Well, it does, but you have to infuse your work. So, everything has a body and a soul. So, you have your body, now you have to infuse it with life. So, what do I mean by that? You know, if you have a doll baby, which a lot of people call a voodoo doll, you infuse it with energy. Now, what I like to do, now I'm going off subject, is I will recite the verse from the Bible where it says that God breathed into Adam and he became a living being, and breathed into the doll baby, baptized the doll in the person's name. So these are ways, and push your energies into it. These are ways in that example to give life to an object. A mojo hand, the physical fetish, as people say, is not really what you're working with. You're working with the living spirit of the mojo. So, okay, I'm kind of going off into this. Basically, your dollars are a vessel. They are a vessel for the energy that you put into it. Your money is a vessel for the intentions you place there. So when you put your Bible verses around it, when you recite Psalms, when you dust with powders, when you anoint with oil, whatever you're doing, or when you just pray over it, be sure to hold that money and push your energy into it. Place your intentions there. Okay? It is a vessel for your intent. Now, the secret, as I see it, to conjure is, if you want to call it that, animism. Everything has consciousness. You talk to your money. Tell your money what you want it to do. You speak to your money and you tell it, I want you to go out and bring me more money before you spend it. And sort of make yourself believe that it hears you. As silly as it may sound, these are all ways to infuse your cash with intent. Okay? Which all these things are designed to infuse your money with intent so that it'll do the work. So, that's basically it. With that, you could light green candles around it, recite prayers. At its most basic, just pray over your money. Tell it what you want it to do. And you can write Bible verses around it, do a success sigil, anoint with oils, whatever. So these are all just different ways to work with it. And again, at its most basic, just pray over it. Put your intentions in it. Now, before I close, I wanted to go over a little bit about some hoodoos that I knew in my early life. These are hoodoos that I knew when I was way younger. Okay? Because these are the only like really old style workers that I really knew that well. My grandmother was psychic. I mean, as crazy as that sounds to some people, she was psychic. My grandmother would walk into a room and pick up vibes. And my grandfather was in the scale business. He owned a scale company. And so she would entertain and all of that. I mean, she would make a big show out of it. She would flip a bowl over and, ooh, you know. I mean, in a sense, partially it was showbiz. She was making a show because that's what people came for, but also for the information. And my grandmother was all into Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, all that crap. And she used to go to Silva mind control courses. And so she knew a lot of cool people. And my grandmother, she used to get readings from others. So my family got to meet some interesting people. And one was an old hoodoo woman. And this woman was actually a preacher. She was a preacher, a Protestant preacher woman. And this little old lady could barely move. And she had what she believed was the power of the Holy Spirit, the power, the living Spirit of God. And I believe that this woman was the real deal. Okay? She had people... Anyways, she fixed money for my mother one time. She took some dollars and she prayed over them and she wrapped them around some roots. And she handed this to my mom and said, put this somewhere safe and you'll never have money troubles like you had before again. And she never had problems again. But my point is, this woman was very devout and religious. She was very close to the Spirit of God. Okay? And this is very important. On the internet, they kind of water conjure down. Traditional workers are usually very close to the divine. A hoodoo is a lot like a prophet. Very much like a prophet, like Moses, Elijah, these workers. And another hoodoo that I knew when I was a kid was Mighty Red. Now, Mighty Red was part black, and he claimed to be part Egyptian. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm just saying, well, that's what he said. Part black and part Egyptian. Now, Mighty Red used to read cards, playing cards for people. And he really got into astrology and a lot of this Western, what you think of as European magic. So people say, well, Hoodoo doesn't have anything European. Yeah, a lot of black folks back in the day did work with Western astrology and ceremonial magic. So for all those purists out there that a lot of them never just read about hoodoo from books, yeah, real hoodoos do mix in some of that stuff. But with Mighty Red, the Bible, God, was very important. So I understand that a lot of people are coming from neo-paganism or agnostic, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But as a living tradition, it's important to realize that divine love should come before the work. And that a hoodoo is a lot like a prophet. You're supposed to be a spiritual worker, an instrument of the divine. And that's just how I see it. That's my experience from old workers. So yes, in Conjure, you will see Bible verses written around dollars. Recite Psalms. Now the Psalms is so blown out of proportions. Different places from the greatest Conjure book that was ever written are used. So anyways, that's just my rant. So a lot of these people don't know anything about all this stuff that's going around on the internet. A lot of these people don't even know how to work a computer, much less write blogs. So, you know, if you mention hoodoo to some of these people, they'll be like, what's hoodoo? You say spells. I don't work spells. I do work. I do spiritual work for people. So they may just look at themselves as a spiritual worker and not use that term. So anyways, that's my rant on that. But basically, you can infuse your money with an intention to go out and get more money when you spend it. And that is a little bit about fixed money conjure. Okay? And one more thing before I close. My radio show, which I'm doing with my buddy, Vayu Tiger. That's V-A-Y-U Tiger. He's my buddy. Our radio show coming up Tuesday at 10 p.m. Central Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We are discussing nothing more than money work, prosperity spells. So I'm going to be on the radio show, I'm going to be going into all kinds of different methods that you can use to bring in a steady cash flow, to bring in customers to your business, to bless you with wealth and abundance. So that's coming up. And below in the description box, I will give a link to my other YouTube channel. And this is a separate channel just for the radio show. So that I will be uploading these episodes to my other channel. Again, below in the description box, if you want to check out our show and all this valuable information that is presented, then be sure and subscribe. Okay, so that's it. And that is fixed money conjure. Fixed money spells. Anyways, thank you for joining me. And once again, this is Taliesin McKnight. Have a great day, y'all.